Hi everyone, hope you are doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, there is emerging news that the Wiper Party leader Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka might be on his way out of Azimio la Umoja so that he can have enough time to launch his presidential bid ahead of 2027 general election. That story was shared in the Nation and they gave it a headline, Azimio implosion, Kalonzo chat on path after Uhuru's exit, Raila's defeat. That was the headline. So, I have been wondering that how can Kalonzo Musyoka get out of Azimio la Umoja to chart his own path when he is aware that in 2027 we will be having an incumbent president seeking for a re-election with the state machinery. So how do you just move out with the Wiper Party and then expect to win election? Of course, it is still just an allegation because Kalonzo has not come out to communicate clear on this matter. And in my own view, I think there are about three things that could be making Kalonzo Musyoka to threaten, because he's had a communicate official. He's just making a threat. There are three things that is making Kalonzo Musyoka to threaten to walk out or dump Azimio la Umoja. And I want us to look into those issues. But before we go deep into that, I just have a quick request. You might be watching this channel, but you're not subscribed. So my humble request, please consider subscribing so that another time, once we release a video like this one, you will always get notified. Again, to all our channel subscribers and anyone who comment, I must say thank you so much for the unconditional support. Again, I'm requesting you to give our video a thumbs up so that YouTube can recommend our videos to more viewers. Back to our discussion. Now, before the threats we are seeing from Wiper Party to come out, I think there are about two people who had talked about Raila Odinga being on ballot in 2027. The Sabawat Member of Parliament, Caleb Hamisi, and the former Assistant Minister, Kirwa Arab, is it Kipruto Arab Kirwa? These two individuals shared their views as far as Raila Odinga being on ballot in 2027 is concerned. And this could be just some of the issues that is making Kalonzo to feel uncomfortable. This is what Caleb Hamisi said. I just want to read. In 2027, Raila Odinga will run not as Uhuru's project, but Raila himself, and he will win early morning. Gachagua will be on ballot. Gachagua will be on Baba's side, and so will all Mount Kenya. In 2027, Raila Odinga will run not as Uhuru's project, but Raila himself, and he will win early morning. Gachagua will be on Baba's side, and so will all Mount Kenya. That is about a Member of Parliament, Caleb Hamisi. Beside this, we have also Kipruto Arab Kirwa, the former Assistant Minister. This is what Arab Kirwa said. In the next election, Raila will be around 81. And this means he may be formidable. And to be elected, you do not need to be so energetic. You just need to be present and be in tune with the wishes of the people. Ile mambo yenye Kipruto is telling Kenyans is that Raila Odinga just need to be in tune with the wishes of the people. So if Raila Odinga supporters still wish that Raila should be on ballot, then Raila should realize that by availing himself to be on ballot. According to Sabot Member of Parliament, Gachagua might not work with William Ruto in 2027. He believed that maybe these two are going to crash before 2027. And if they create that turmoil or a division in Kenya Kwanza, then Gachagua will have no option but to look for another side for green pasture. And where the green pasture? In Raila Amolo Odinga's side. A sure bet that they will win. These two things, I think, is making Kalonzo Musyoka not to feel comfortable in Azimio la Umoja. Because Kalonzo believed that he has supported Raila Odinga in 2013, 2017, and 2022. And therefore, Raila should reciprocate by giving him a support in 2027. And that leads to my third point. Kalonzo Musyoka threatened to leave Azimio la Umoja and move on his own way is because he just want to create some threat so that Raila can support him in 2027, so that ODM should not prepare to have a candidate on ballot in 2027. Those three things. So Kalonzo is feeling that he might not get the support from ODM or Azimio la Umoja in case they stay together up to the end. And the only way to maybe push these people to give him a chance is for him to threaten that he want to move out and forge forward his own path in preparation for 2027 general election. So it's creating some mere threat so that the ODM party and Azimio la Umoja should rethink if they need to work with Kalonzo and if they need to give him a chance at least to be on ballot as a presidential candidate. But there are several things that Kalonzo need to understand, or anyone who wants to be on ballot in 2027 in Azimio la Umoja. Because in this election, as I said at the beginning, we will have an incumbent who will be seeking the second term in office. And we understand in Kenya, once you become president, it becomes so much hard for you to be helped out from power. Because you have the state operatives at your exposure, you can use state resources, state power, and with all these things, of course, at your disposal, you are good to go. So, what Azimio need to do, and Kalonzo Musyoka, together with the team, if they need to win election in 2027, then they need to do exactly what happened in 2017. That's the only way to deal with the incumbent. But if you scatter, trying to scatter, then you get out. Okay, what if ODM insists that they will have a presidential candidate on ballot? Kalonzo will not win this election. Azimio will not win. And Ruto will pass through. Because Kalonzo will go with about 2 million votes. And then Raila with the remaining votes, Ruto with the state machinery, it becomes a problem. For those who remember, in 2017, there was another coalition which was referred to as Code Coalition in 2013. When Code Coalition was comprising of ODM Party, Wiper, and Ford Kenya, they came together. When they lost that election, they managed to stay together because they believe that they still have a chance in 2027. And that helped because they shared the power properly in the National Assembly, in the Senate, and even when it came to political party funds, they did it nicely in preparation for the next election. Now, it came 2027, where now CORD was still together because Kalonzo, Wetangula, and Raila were still holding together. And so, they moved from CORD to NASA. And how did it change to NASA? Now, in NASA, they got one more person who came on board. And the formation of NASA was a unity of ODM, Wiper, now you bring in ANC and Ford Kenya. So Musalia Mudavadi came on board. And that is how NASA came to exist. This formation was one of the best formation to deal with the incumbents. And this was one of the best campaigns that even me personally, I enjoyed watching, listening, and I was following everything step by step. I enjoyed actually. They challenged President Uhuru Kenyatta by that time, together with William Ruto as his deputy. And they had a very tough time. To an extent, they were pushed to a corner until they said they had to cheat in that election. Remember, rigging happened. That's why Maraga was able to nullify the election. And they called for a rerun. So Raila did not participate in that election when they called for a rerun. But again, half of the country was with Raila Amolo Odinga. Because of this, Uhuru was aware that he wasn't the legitimate president. And therefore, for you to gain legitimacy, he had to bring Raila Odinga on board. And that is what informed the handshake. Because he knew that Raila had won clear, and that's why Maraga was able to nullify. For me, that's the only way you can deal with the incumbents. But if you try to make the drama that we are seeing Kalonzo trying to make here, it's just creating an opportunity for William Ruto to win this election, as simple as that. And then Kalonzo will be nowhere, and he will be buried like that. He will go into a political oblivion. Because after 2027, Ruto will be forming another team that will come there. So in my view, Kalonzo should go slow, and they should look for a way to negotiate whether it should be Raila to be on ballot or Kalonzo Musyoka. They can agree on that. And if it's Kalonzo, what is he giving to ODM? How will they manage to have Luya Nation in ODM if Raila is not on ballot? Because Raila can decide to support Kalonzo. But then, if it is not Raila on ballot, I don't think if Luyas are going to support another person who is not Raila Odinga. That's the only time they will give a loophole to someone like Musalia Mudavadi now to take over the full control together with Wetangula of Mlembe Nation. Remember, Luyas are supporting ODM because Raila is the party leader. They are listening to Raila Odinga's voice, not Kalonzo Musyoka, not any other individual. So ODM also put everything on ballot, try to balance everything. What if we remove Raila Odinga? Will he still get his support from Western? What about Coast Region? A lot of consideration.